Take a look at the other markets. We see, let's look at the fear greed index in the crypto space. Now it's about 14 points. It did get below the 10-point range over the weekend. It's still extreme fear at 14 points, but better than 8 points. It touched the lowest over the weekend. We see market cap there, $1.27 trillion. It's down about 0.26%. Volume traded down about 3.51%, while Bitcoin dominance sits at 44.35%. We see Bitcoin there, $29,536 at 8 a.m. this morning, up about 1.22%, but it was above 30K over the weekend, but now we're seeing it go below that 30K support. Price of Ethereum, $2,009. That's up about 1.45%. Volume traded $18.43 billion. Let's bring in Olumide Addition, our financial market analyst. Hello, Olumide. Great to have you. Good morning.
Yeah. Hello, Ladi. Good morning.
Yeah, quite an interesting price movement over the weekend. But we're seeing Bitcoin lose that 30K range. But we're seeing a kind of seesaw movement around that support. What are you seeing for this week?
Yeah, Ladi, it's been a very quiet Monday, knowing fully well that the market routes that happened last week cost the crypto market over $300 billion in market value. And we saw the systemic growth stablecoins played in that aspect. So we've seen substantial amount of investors off the table, and the dollar seems to be kicking up Monday morning on a strong footing. Having said that, that's surprisingly why Bitcoin dropped below the $30,000 support level. It's very tricky because looking at the most recent economic data coming from China, growing concerns of economic growth slowing down globally has really kept a lot of investors shaky. And more indicators that come to that narrative will definitely put the crypto market under more pressure. So that is not an interesting situation in the crypto market right now.
Really not interesting. And talking about, stable coins, you see the Luna saga rages on after the USD depegging. But apparently Luna is still trading on exchanges. What does that tell us?
Well, it's very tricky to comment on private listing of these tokens, because you could see that at some point exchanges like Binance delisted it just to protect consumers, and a lot of people were complaining that at least they should have given it a more decentralized approach. But I think lessons need to be learned. We've seen the systemic importance stablecoin play in the market, and that's why we're seeing powerful policymakers like Janet Yellen talking about stablecoin regulation. For Luna, I think time will tell. We've seen top players in the industry. FTX chief recently even announced that despite the fact that we saw drawdowns in Luna prices, the protocol had some strong fundamentals and transparent structure, but it was just a bad product that had systemic which brought the price down. But I think future occurrence, I think regulation will really address that. But for now, I think it's a lesson for investors not to put what they cannot afford to lose, because we've seen a lot of investors losing money on those investments. Very sad.
Quite interesting. But are we seeing this, impact other stable coins? Like we still have the USDT, we have the BUSD and the USDC. How is this impacting, those stable coins?
Yeah, in the short term, yes, it had impact, because we saw that a lot of investors had to move funds away from these hard asset-backed stable coins. But the difference is that in the long term, I think Tether, USDC, and other stable coins would not suffer such risk, because they are backed by actual assets like fiat or commodities. And you could see that we are seeing strong entities backing these stable coins. Take a look at USDC, for example. We're seeing an 8 trillion asset manager. I'm talking of BlackRock, being a custodian for that. And we're also seeing Tether bringing out more transparency on their daily website. And you could see that at some point they even bumped the amount of token in circulation, because we saw some liquidation. But lessons need to be learned. We've seen a lot of panic in the space. But I think in the long run, I think stable coins will be regulated, and I think sanity will prevail.
Yeah, because
so I think the market is really adjusting that. Yeah.
Because stable coins are really important for such a volatile market. When you want to reduce exposure, and still remain in the market, you run into the stable coin. But it's a huge risk. What happened to UST? But looking at the market right now, we know the shorters and the long traders right now will be battling for what direction, Bitcoin will be going next. But looking at your crystal ball, who's likely to win the long and short story?
But it's very difficult to bet against the bears, knowing fully well how the bears destroyed all markets, including even the fixed income market. So I will definitely stick with the bears. But if you look at just today, we saw a number of bears getting liquidated, just shorting the Bitcoin futures market. So it's very tricky out there, but I think the bears still have the fever on their side.
The bears still have it. All right. Thank you so much, Olumide. Always great talking to you.
Thank you, Laddie.
All right, now let's take a look at the top alts by market cap. It's kind of a mixed bag there. We're seeing BNB there down about 0.51%. We see Cardano 55 cents up about 2.91%. Incredible how Cardano is at this price right now. Just a couple of months ago, Cardano was above the $1 mark, but we're seeing how volatile this market is. We see eCash there also up by 1.55%. XRP 41 cents. That was trading at 80 cents for the longest time. Looking at how much this market can actually pull back. Now we see top 5 gainers. We see Arweave there topping the counter up about 13.91%. And we see XEM there up 6.78%. And KuCoin shares also on the top gainers list. Let's look at the top 5 losers counter there. We see UST, that's the stable coin for Luna. That's supposed to be $1, but we're seeing it at 16 cents. It's down about 14% this morning. And GMT there down about 12.53%. So it's still a huge, highly volatile market that we're seeing this morning in the crypto space.